Three, two, welcome to the iRacers Lounge. I'm your host, Mike Ellis. iRacers Lounge is a podcast for the iRacer where we talk all things iRacing in a casual setting. Joining me are the usual characters, Greg Hectus.
What's up, everybody?
Hey, Brad Wren.
The endless cautions of Martinsville are in the rearview mirror.
Yay, and William Westbrook.
Good evening, everyone. Hey, Brad, how about the endless cautions of Darlington?
Yeah, it's starting to.
On today's show, did you fall for any April Fool's pranks? See if more racing sessions per hour helping the series. We have more Sim Gaming Expo announcements. Find out what a seasoned product reviewer has learned. More reviews of Moza Active Pedals and Shifter. New product from Cube Controls and VRS. And is Sim racing just gaming or is it more?
That's right, Mike. And remember that you can follow along with us on your PC or your mobile device in real time as you listen to the show and see for yourself all of the great topics and products we'll discuss by visiting iRacersLounge.com. Select the show notes. We hope to see you there.
April's Fools. I mean, this always catches me off at least once every year on some kind of news story or product, a launch or something. I always find myself on April 1st getting caught up with something but this one, it was pretty obvious. So, Brad, what did iRacing try to pull over on us?
Yeah, so we had a Instagram post, and it was on most of their social media. So they were planning to introduce a new rookie car. This was going to be the Little Tykes Cozy Coupe. So said it was going to be added to the service. Says the Cozy Coupe will feature a handle on the back for parent-controlled push rods, moving ignition switch for pretend startups, out of a removable floorboard, rugged durable tires, and a gas cap that opens and closes for imaginary refuels.
I got to thinking about this in my head, like what would it look like with about 40 or 50 of these going around Richmond at the, and they might race. I don't know.
Yeah, so I kind of went through and found a few other ones that came out this week. So we had GT Omega Racing, had the Edge being released, 69 Newton meters of torque. So just a little bit of overhead there for you, Mike.
Now, this one caught me. Initially, I was thinking this was real. I was like, what? It says be the revolution. I'm like, 69? Holy moly. But then as I started looking at it, I'm like, wait a minute, this isn't real.
Yeah, a power supply so big an elephant would be impressed. That one was pretty good.
Yeah, when you go to read it, right, you're like, oh, yeah, well, this might not be right. But down at the bottom, of course, it's hashtag April Fools. There was one more, William. What was it?
Let's see.
Oh, there's a few of them, actually.
There's a few more, yeah. We have the iRacing Series race, 8 of 36. Apparently, they were going to run the Legend 600 at iRacing Super Speedway. I kind of saw this just kind of quickly scrolling through Twitter and didn't even give it a second thought. Didn't even realize they were playing an April Fool's joke. We have VRS put out a horse racing simulator, and Next Level Racing put out a goat simulator, like an actual goat to play with the goat simulator game. That's pretty funny.
The mechanical goat. The title idea.
Early tonight.
Yeah, these are always fun. I mean, I think what was the iRacing Mobile? That was a big one back in the day, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, we thought they were coming to the iOS and Android with iRacing. That one will be hard to top. You always remember that one in the back of your mind, but yeah, we had the mechanical goat this year. Hey, William, how about dynamic debris?
Yeah, so Jaxer put out a video. Is this a newer video, or is he just now getting to it because Kimmy was on the sim? He's going over the dynamic debris, how it gets thrown on track, gravel gets thrown on track. You can hear it in your wheel well, it gets thrown back at the car. But that's been here for a minute, so I didn't know if he was bringing it back up just because they had Kimmy on the sim or what was going on.
Well, wasn't it broke where you couldn't see the debris?
Yeah, they recently fixed it. They broke it in a patch and fixed it a couple weeks later.
I like this video, I think, because it's extreme. I mean, they had a lot of rocks going up the hill towards the corkscrew at this track, and you can see it coming off the cars in front of him. You can hear it hitting the car. The rock against the metal. There's kind of a dust with the rocks in the air, and so visually it really pops.
Have either of you two done Laguna Seca since they added the debris?
No, I haven't.
So this was our first track that the league went to after the debris was added, however many months ago, and it really is that extreme. There is junk all over the track at Laguna Seca. Even if you don't really have people going off, it gets very dirty very quick.
Nice. That's the way it is in real life.
Yep.
Okay, Brad, how about the more races per hour?
Yeah, so I stumbled across a couple threads on the forum. So if you guys remember before season, I guess it was season 1. I don't know. Well, I guess a few weeks ago, whatever it was, they were making some changes and where they were shortening up a lot of the shorter series, taking laps away to where they could run, or where a series was typically running once an hour, they moved some to every 30 minutes, they moved some to even 15 minutes. So there was a couple posts on here. One of them from Leo Bronger says 15 minutes between the Formula V races ruin the fun and the gameplay. So one of the things we were concerned about was the more the more races you have, what's going to happen to the fields? Is it going to dilute it? Is it going to make it better? So he says the Formula V has gone from an hour to half hour between races. This has resulted in fewer splits and higher I ratings were mixed. So it's kind of interesting. The kind of a lot what we thought was going to end up happening was you were going to get things to where they'd be so diluted. You weren't going to have the strength of field was going to go down, and you actually end up having less people racing. So just scrolling through some of the comments. It's just you had as many as 200 people at sometimes racing, and now you're struggling to find a split or two. And then also had another post from this one was from this is from Han Young Choi. Racing every hour rather than half hour was better. So again, kind of some of the same stuff that just. I guess
you predicted this, didn't you?
Yeah, we did. I mean, and that's what was already discussed when they announced this. A lot of the comments in that thread was, what was going to end up happening. And I mean, it's just like one of them on here, there were 20 to 30 drivers at a time slot. So 2 or 3 splits. When it was an hour, there were sometimes over 200 drivers. So part of the problem is when you have less splits, you end up with the spread of I rating being huge. It's like for me, if I go to run an IMSA race, say on a Sunday afternoon, well, I'm racing with half the guys in Europe. So I end up, I get in a split and I got a 5,000 I rating guy and I'm all the way at the bottom. I don't have a chance. I mean, it's just that there's no chance to it. So that's the struggle is the whole purpose of I rating is to pair you up into groups with like I rating so that you can be competitive. But when you jump into a split, if you got you only got 20 or 30 drivers in a split, you end up with 1 or 2 splits. What ends up happening? You got a guy with a 6,000 I rating, and you got somebody in there with a 1,700 at the bottom.
So an example put up in here by Javier Rapulas, he shows 9 cars in the split. 2 of them are 3,000. Okay, you got a 2 in the 1,500 range, and then 3 in the 1,500 range, and then the rest of them are rookies. Okay, so you got rookies racing with 3Ks, and so you got this huge disparity in I rating because there's less people because there's more races. And so to me, it looks like we predicted this. now we have the data that shows that it's failing. Maybe iRacing should adjust it back to the way it was.
Yeah, so we talked about this extensively, and I think Brad mostly, but a lot of us, kind of predicted what was going to happen. What I want to see is more of that data, not just people complaining on the forums with their antecedents. I want somebody like the one guy in the forums did to compile a lot of this data and put it out there. That way, iRacing, well, they can, but hopefully they can't ignore it, right? And hopefully, the experiment ends and we go back to like it was.
Yeah, I mean, I don't run these series, but
I don't either.
I mean, I would, with the new UI and the changes they made, it should be pretty easy to see. Now, the question is going to be, of course, can you go back and look at the previous seasons and get all the data? My guess
We're
is
not.
you probably can't.
All right, let's keep moving. This one, hear me out, guys. An in-race one-finger salute, says Ben J. Jones in the forums. He says, quote, "We can even make it a max use limit of 1, so we have to use it strategically and never flippantly. Haha. Not only will this add to the realism, Dale, looking at you, my man, you've thrown a few, but it may even provide an outlet for frustrations and reduce retaliatory actions, leading to cleaner races overall, let alone the satisfaction of tossing one out the window for the guy that's been blocking you for 20 plus laps and you finally get by. Think of the additional possibilities this would unlock as well. For example, a full 40-card field taking the green at Daytona with 40 birds out the window. Please consider this, guys. We need it."
I was like, this sounds stupid until I got to the point about Daytona with the 40 birds, and I was all for it. That sounds hilarious. I mean, it might not be as far fetched as this guy thinks, because after the 24, Greg West tweeted that he wished he could stick his finger out the window like the Corvette did. So maybe one day.
So, what happens when a certain person is racing and somebody gets offended?
Well, that's what I was just about to say. Like, do we really have to be offended by this? I mean, the mechanical bird, it's a button. It's a button bind. Okay, come on. What are the chats, Brad? They've always had you could button bind at the top with a button. Something.
Oh, I think the default ones is, what is it? Something crazy fool or
Shut up, you crazy fool.
Yeah, quit your jibber jabber.
Yeah.
Right. So let's take the quit your jibber jabber and just take it up one little notch and let us button bind a little animation. It just has to be like a hand out the window. It doesn't have to be the finger. Maybe it's just an animation where the hand leaves the wheel and goes out the window net briefly and comes back.
Okay, so how about if that's the case, when you bind a button for, say, I'm going to pit, instead of having to come up with the chat, I'm going to pit. How about you got a hand that waves out the window?
It's the same button, right? We can pretend it's the bird, but look, when somebody behind you sees it, oh, the car in front of me, I see the guy's hand went out the window. We all know what that really means. See, that's how we'll play this.
He's just happy to see you.
The button would be called, "I'm signaling to go to pit road," or,
You would have to definitely limit it, because I mean, as we all know, Mike, especially on the Opal side, there's going to be that one guy that's going to hit it every single corner.
It'll be the new headlight flash for the roadside, right?
I like the idea once per race, like you said. All right, let's move on. How about sim racing is not gaming? I love these kind of X threads that have all these information that just goes forever. So what do you think, William?
Oh yeah, it's a thread for sure. If you open it up, there's 4 or 5 tweets going down, and then hours worth of comments either arguing with the guy or completely agreeing with him. I mean, this argument's been made before. Is it a sim? It's a game. I think we're all on the sim side. To us, it's not a game. But I don't understand the people who get all bent out of shape when people call it a game. I mean, it's we know what it is. If somebody doesn't feel the same way, it's no skin off my back, really. But anyway, this goes down for a while. He makes his case, realistic physics, tire wear grip. The real life teams use iRacing or similar sims to train. So many people have gone from sim to real life. He lists a few of them: James Baldwin, Sebastian Job, Chris Lowell now with Max. He says you can make road money. It builds your skills, legit training tool, and supposedly it makes motorsport possible for everyone, even though we all know you still got to have some money to go along with it.
I think it breaks the entry barrier to motorsports down to a reasonable level. Let's say it that way.
Right.
Yeah, but look, it's whether it's Counter-Strike or I guess F1, the 25, 24, whatever it is. I mean, there is an entire professional esports community. I mean, there are guys that literally are getting paid money to do this. Whether you call it gaming or simming or whatever, it doesn't matter. It's real. I've said for years, the racing that we do online, it's racing. It just happens to be virtual. It's the same thing. When I raced years ago, it was in a car. That's fine. I can't do that anymore. I can't afford it, and it's not practical. This is as close as I'm ever going to get, but it's the same thing. It's competition. It's racing. We do it virtually.
Well said. All right, I'll take this one. If you like stats, check out what NASCAR is doing. They're bringing in new NASCAR Insights, which are driver performance metrics. And I thought, wow. So they're doing this in NASCAR. How easy would it be for iRacing to do this for iRacing drivers and give us some more statistics? We love statistics.
Probably could have done it in the old website.
Ouch.
I mean, it'd probably be pretty easy. It might cost a bit of money. You're talking about API connections, server maintenance, all that stuff. It might take them a bit to do it. As far as the actual lift to get it done, I don't think it'd be that difficult.
Look, they got the data. They got the running order as we run. Like you said, it's probably a guy writing code for a week or something. I think it would be easy to do, to be honest. But let's go through some of these. Passer rating is the first one. Measures the driver's efficiency in passing, basically throughout the race. Defense rating evaluates the driver's ability to hold their position when under pressure. Speed rating analyzes the driver's overall pace relative to the field, tracking lap times throughout the race. So they break it down. For example, long run speed, short run speed, clean air speed, dirty air speed, and they look at all those and evaluate. And then finally, restart rating, assess the driver's performance in gaining or maintaining position after a start or restart.
I think it's interesting from the NASCAR side as a fan. I mean, it's other sports have had these statistics similar to this for years. I mean, you watch football, when the guy commentating says the passer, his passer rating is this, or the QB rating is this and whatnot. It's become just the vernacular that's spoken of. I would like to see, more information given in the broadcast about people. And I mean, to me, it's interesting from that aspect that, I think the more it gets used, the more it's just, there's a number to quantify it as opposed to just saying, I mean, look, what did we say for years? Harvick was the closer, Tony Stewart was always better when it got hot. Well, no, he wasn't. Statistically, he did not run any better when the weather got hot, and Kevin Harvick was not that great of a closer. I mean, it's just, if you've got numbers and data to back things up, I think it makes it a lot more interesting.
Well, data is creeping into every aspect of life. I know it is at my work, where it didn't traditionally used to have a home. it's been in other sports, like you guys said, for a long time. I'm a huge baseball fan, and analytics and sabermetrics has changed the game enormously over the past 10 years. So it's really cool to see something like this come into NASCAR now. Will this change anything? These statistics? Maybe, maybe not. But, that just opens the door for more stuff to come in later. It's really cool to see. This is the first time I'm seeing it when you guys put it on the script, and I'll definitely be checking it out after the future races.
Well, I think the more that sports gambling and all that, the more prevalent that gets, I think that's a lot of that. I think is some of that is driven by this stuff. I think.
Right. Like you pick the trifecta on who wins on the passing, the defense, and the speed rating. Not necessarily who wins. They have stuff like that. Look, they have the Homestead race listed here with some of the drivers and what their score is. And it's fascinating to me because it tells you at a glance where that driver has opportunities. So if you look at Kyle Larson, he's second in 3 of the 4 categories. And he's almost dead last in one of them, and that's restarts. So obviously Kyle can look at this and say, hey, I'm doing good at all these other things. I need to work on my restarts. Or if you look at one of these other drivers, like what other one jumps out at you? AJ Allmendinger. Look at Allmendinger.
Yeah, number 1 for restarts, but when it comes to passing, 28. Again, that's the thing. And I think the more this is used, teams will use this and look for ways to say, hey, we need to improve in X, Y, and Z.
How much do we think they already have stuff like this behind the scenes? How long has it been in the sport and we're just now getting to see it?
Well, look, they already share that data. What do they call it? SMT.
Right.
Maybe this is already part of it. We just don't even know it.
Yeah, I bet you some of these teams have data scientists already who are making a ton of money and we've never heard of them.
We want this in iRacing. We want that. Come on, guys. Stuff like this is just gold. All right, Brad. Look who is testing at Long Beach.
Yeah, we had a Facebook post from Darwin Hansen. This is in one of the sim racing groups on Facebook, and it's a screenshot from a GTP practice lobby for Long Beach. And Wayne Taylor Racing is getting ready for IMSA. So we got Jordan Taylor, Louis Delatrez, Ricky Taylor, and Philippe Albuquerque all practicing at Long Beach. So, just to go back up a story or two, I don't think they're on this to play a game. I think they're on here to practice.
Right. It's a value add to them to be on iRacing. Look, all these guys are probably in their individual houses at home, I would guess, but it's during the week. They got to prepare for the upcoming race. What better way to jump into a practice lobby on iRacing with my teammates? We run some laps. We see how we stack up,
Yeah, I think I shared last year, the week leading up to IMSA being at VIR. I think it was Monday night the week before. Of course, with iRacing, it's going to keeps the same schedule. So I jump in a race at VIR, and James Hinchcliffe's on the pole. I'm like, oh. I just didn't expect to see that, but he was running that weekend, so why not jump on the sim and get some practice?
All right, next up, 2025 Season 3 schedule submission time. Travis Solenberger and Tyler Hudson. I almost forgot his name. Have been posting feverishly in the forums on every forum thread that has, for each series, which is a lot of them, basically asking it's time to gather the schedule, put in your ideas of what you want for a particular, series. So if you want to get involved in, the new ARCA car and what the schedule may be, then now is the time.
Yeah, it's nice that most of the community gets options. So it's one of those things where, if you don't take the time to vote and to put your 2 cents in, don't complain when you don't like the schedule.
Yeah, so check out these, and also some of the schedules are completely community made. So I know on Porsche Cup they have a Discord where they will vote prior to the season and submit the suggestions to iRacing. I don't think iRacing necessarily has to take them, right? But normally iRacing takes that into account, and generally it's pretty close to what the community made schedule is.
All right, Brad, we have the Season 2 Patch 3.
Yes, so that was had downtime today, and that got released. So finally got the adaptive AI is now available for single AI sessions. They're still working to, I guess, get this ready to where it can be done and hosted, and still working towards an AI season option at a later date. But so all the drivers, of course, have improved their racing skills with the Truck Series class truck as well. So some physics updates. So this was interesting. The physics processing for collisions involving opponent vehicles has been updated for improving accuracy. So opponent cars now automatically update their physics processing frequency to much higher rate anytime they detect that they're in close proximity to any object or whenever a collision occurs. So I think some of us have noticed that the net code has gotten a bit worse. I think over the last maybe season or two, but I'm hoping that some of this stuff is going to adjust it. Torque scaling applied during impacts to wheels has also been adjusted, so opponent vehicles now behave much more realistically when they strike walls. So, like I at Darlington last night, a guy in front of me was obviously having some connection issues, and we're going through 1 and 2, and he gets up into the wall, and the entire rear end of the car got ripped off, and stuff flew everywhere, and then all of a sudden it came right back. So I think that's some of the stuff. Some more updates to the dynamic track model. Continue to update the appearance of the debris. Continuing to work on graphics. Continuing to tweak the intensity of the sun glare. They improved some of the brightness of pit entry lights, caution lights. Continue to work on fog. Made some adjustments with the MSAA processing for foggy conditions. Had some spotter crew chief adjustments. So there was obviously an auto fuel issue that cropped up at Darlington beginning of the week. So guys were getting invalid data when they were looking to try to set their auto fuel. So, and then I think one of the bigger things was the damage model has been adjusted on the ARCA cars. So I think that was some of the issues with the kind of really bad net code, phantom, contact issues and whatnot. Then a few small track adjustments as well.
So one of the items was the ARCA. There was some confusion on Twitter because it says here for custom paints, a headlight has been moved to the decal layer, so custom paints may once again stamp numbers over them. So on the ARCA car, you're supposed to put your number over the headlight on the one side, and so
if you're running a custom, yes, well, with a custom number, not just a regular custom. So if I don't run a custom number, so my number's not going to be over top of it.
But if you did, then that's what it's for.
Yes, so that right headlight is now no longer on the mandatory stamp layer. So they basically just taken and removed that one headlight. So when you do your car, the way I assume it would work now is that right headlight would still be on the on your livery. Your TGA would be on that, and that's what's going to get put into the game.
Oh,
Okay, William, how about Max's sim racing program?
Yeah, so I don't know if it was hinted at or he announced it a while ago. I feel like I've heard about it, but we get some more information about it. He's starting his own program to try to increase the sim to reality thing. We know he promoted Chris to the GT3. Well, maybe not him, but he facilitated that. He's now building a state-of-the-art facility that apparently is going to be for sim racing and real-world initiatives, and it's all being done by MaxVerstappen.com, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that's the news in this video. that we didn't hear before is that there's actually going to be a facility. So they're going to have a, I don't know what you could call it, a race shop.
Yeah, I guess.
But it's, and like you said, they're fielding real cars, GT3, but they're also going to probably do sim racing activities there.
ADR Sim Center is how they describe it. It's going to be really cool.
So I guess going back to that thread on X, Max is just a big gamer, right? There's no value to simulators, is there?
Look, he's the world champ. Everyone should be emulating what he's doing, not calling it out. Okay, William, how about you take the McCohen and Webster?
Yeah, so I actually have not had a chance to watch the races. I was busy this weekend, so they're still on my playlist to go through. But I'd already seen the results for Pesk. The Red Bull cars, Luke McEwen and Cooper Webster. Luke won the first race, Cooper won the second. I can't comment on the race because, like I said, I haven't seen it yet. But Thruxton, Brad, did you watch it? Because that had to be interesting.
I did watch some of it. It was, it's a very tight course. That last chicane is brutal. There was quite a bit of contact through there. A lot of guys just absolutely losing them on their own. So, the biggest thing I took was that, Sebastian Job just continues to struggle. Just absolutely continues to struggle. So
I'll take credit for that because I told everybody at the beginning of the year nobody was going to challenge him. So,
it is interesting. The way that the sprint race works is the top 8 end up inverting. So you could see that Cooper Webster was running 8th in that one, and they, he had at one point I think he had Job and I can't think of who's the other Red Bull driver. Or Redline rather driver, but it was all 3 of them together. And the talk from the commentators, are they defending? They try to keep Cooper there, but like I said, Job continued to have some struggles. I would think we said when we started talking about this one that was going to be a challenge with just as small of a track as it was. I watched a few minutes of the celebrity race, they or the influence or whatever they call it, but
All Stars.
All Stars. There you go. It was interesting to see Lars Heinrich, who drives for Porsche and AO Racing. It was kind of neat to see him in there, and he's just dominated. I mean, it's just again, if it, you again, I go back to what we just got done talking about. If guys are naturally good in race cars, they're naturally good in sims, and it just shows. Max the same way. I mean, I think Lawrence started all the way in the back and just drove straight through to get past everybody. So it's I do like that they do the All-Star thing. That's pretty neat.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite parts about that. Standings through whatever race that was. The fifth race. Cooper Webster, Oracle Red Bull is in the lead. And then 2 Team Indian Racing teammates behind him in Jordan Caruso and Michael Jung.
How about Sim Gaming Expo, guys? Let's talk about it. First weekend of September, Schaumburg, Illinois. We have a discount code IRLP10 for 10% off tickets. It's time to book your tickets, guys. Get your rooms, get your flights, get your passes. Other announcements that have come out. Gomez Sim Industries, not only an exhibitor, but a sponsor, guys. Hype is real. And so they got 1,000 square foot booth, and they're supplying up to 15 wheels for use by competitors all weekend long for the the tournaments they're going to have. They're going to have cockpits set up for tournaments and racing, and I hope I can get involved in that.
Yeah, so in their release, they said they are supplying 2 wheels as prizes for live competitions that are going to be held at the Sim Expo. So I thought it was pretty cool.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm excited to be able to actually put hands on some of the stuff that we talk about, some of the things that we see. We don't have opportunities to actually put your hands on stuff and touch it. That's, I think, is going to be the unique thing about going to this.
Yeah, you don't get that opportunity in America very much, unfortunately. I mean, you've got if you are lucky enough to live near a micro center, you might have been able to touch some GSI stuff and maybe some Q control stuff. But other than that, on stateside, there's not a whole lot of chance for it.
No, I mean we've talked. I mean, I'm hoping that somebody's going to have some sort of motion rig set up. I would love to be able to hop in a motion rig just to see what it feels like. Not that I probably would ever do anything, but I'm never going to have that opportunity. You just there's no chance for that.
Also announced this week, Alexander Custom PCs. This is a custom PC builder in the area of Chicago. And they're providing, check this out, 38 custom built gaming PCs that will fuel the sim racing competition area, which, by the way, our booth is right next to. The LAN gaming zone. Ooh, I didn't even know he had that. And then the streaming / podcast booths all weekend long.
Yeah, so a lot of cool things happening. With the way my work is, I won't know if I'll be able to have the chance to attend until way later in the year. But if it doesn't end up happening, I'm definitely jealous of you guys that are going to be there, getting to be a part of this. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Well, the hope is that this is successful and that we do it again next year.
Yeah.
Brad and I and others will be there the whole show. Look, William, if you can only make it one day or something, still come,
Yeah, if I'm able to, I'll definitely be there. Like I said, my work, what I do is a little weird, so I won't know if I even have the time until later in the year. But if there's any opportunity, for sure, I'll be there.
So obviously, we have our announcement came out on the socials from Sim Gaming Expo that the iRacers Lounge will have a booth as well. Look, the booth is really about meeting our listeners. Okay, we're going to have a banner, so it'll be obviously it's iRacers Lounge. We're going to have a table and chairs and stuff like that. A place to talk, basically, and hang out. We're going to have a place where you can charge your phone. We're going to have, some other ideas. We're thinking we're going to have stickers, and so we're going to have a giveaway. I haven't quite figured out exactly how we're doing that, but we're planning. So, look, and why am I stopping and talking about this? We want the listeners to show up. You guys who listen to us every week, meet us there. Okay, so it'll be fun. Trust me. I'm sure in the evenings we're going to have even more fun at the hotel bar.
And again, we will be recording our 500th episode from the show as well. So that's a big deal for this podcast.
And it looks like to me that they're going to have everything we need to pull it off, like all the recording equipment and computering and internet and whatever is needed to do the podcast. But, even though we're planning our own equipment as a backup plan, I think the expo is going to have us a nice place to do it.
Yep. And I think we're working on, I think there's been some discussion on some recording equipment there so that, one of the things we want to do with you guys as listeners, we want to get some feedback from you. So, have you stop in and let us know, leave your thoughts for the lounge as well.
Yep. I got 2 little wireless lavalier mics for my iPhone. And my idea is I'm going to basically walk around and ask people to give me a sound bite. Tell me 1 minute or 2 minutes about who you are, what do you think of the show, and etc. And so then we will put those clips together into an episode, basically, for everybody. It'll be cool. Okay, Brad, how about the Raja STEM Invitational Time Attack Open?
Yep. So I got a post from iRacing. It says, want a chance to share the virtual track with NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series standout Raja Caruth. So the Racing with Raja STEM Invitational Time Attack is now open. So take your truck to the virtual Charlotte Motor Speedway now through April 14th. Set your best lap for a chance to run the live event, which will stream on April 23rd at 8 p.m. So the 25 fastest eligible drivers will be selected to compete in 2 races with Raja at Charlotte and the Atlanta Motor Speedway. So we've talked about this initiative that Raja is involved with in parts with Microsoft, GM, iRacing, I've got a video there in the script that kind of tells you a little bit more about how STEM leads to speed and the importance of STEM, just as in education. And again, I think it's a fantastic way to get kids interested in motorsports. It doesn't have to be NASCAR; it's just motorsports. The one thing I've noticed with me growing up, to turn 16 and get my car was a big deal. I looked forward to it, and raising two kids that they didn't have that same desire that I did, to get a car. I've got three nephews that literally my brother and his wife had to beg them to get their driver's license because it doesn't seem to be much of a fascination with cars anymore. Which is sad. It really is, because for me, a car was freedom. So I think anything we can do with kids to get them interested in motorsports and cars, and then again, it's not just about driving in circles. There's so much science that goes into engineering a race car, and it's not just that. I mean, it transfers over to everything. I mean, if you follow with real racing, it's not the guy turning lugs, turning wrenches as much anymore. It's the guy sitting behind a computer, or the ones that are figuring out what's going to make cars fast.
It's applied science. Like if I was a science teacher, I would be loving this, because the kids get bored with the textbook, and this gives them a way to like apply it to like a real life situation, and so STEM is pretty cool for science teachers if they can get that involved in the classroom. Pretty cool.
Yeah. So
Brad, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, Mike. If you click on the iRacing post, they give a little bit more information about what the program and the curriculum actually is. I know when this was announced a few months ago, it was cool, but it was just a couple of flashy sound bites, right? So it gives a little bit more information. It looks really cool. Good to Raja to bring that into the curriculum, and lucky to the kids who are going to get to take part in that, because I guarantee you that's not something that was available to me when I was going through school. When I was at Petit Le Mans, this was a college group, so not quite the same, but I was hanging out at the McLaren garage, just kind of checking out the car, and someone, I'm not sure who, if he was with IMSA or what, brought a college group through, and it was really cool to see the engineers from McLaren take 10, 15 minutes just to talk to these guys, because you could tell they were super interested, and it's kind of what they were doing for their program. So it was really, really cool to see them take the time out of this is race day, so they're super busy. So if we can bring that down to the 12, 15-year-old kids age, and like you said, get them interested in it again, I think it's a great thing.
Yep. All right, this week at iRacing, so the eNASCAR iRacing series is at Darlington all week. The iRacing GP Tour will be at Suzuka. We've got the Nürburgring Endurance Championship returns. This will be week 1 of 9. This will be at the Nürburgring Combined, the BLN course, and I believe this is they typically run different types of sports cars there. Super late model tour is back in action. Will be at Kern's Kevin Harvick's Kern Raceway. Got the Dirt 410 sprint car will be at Lernersville. Super late model tour is back this week, and that will be at Slinger Speedway as well. The FIA F4 regionals, we've got the Americas are at Road Atlanta. Asia Pacific is at Fuji. Europe's at Hungaroring, and Global is at the Phillip Island Circuit. We've got Ringmeister, Draftmaster as usual, Rainmaster, and whatnot. College NASCAR Series is at Charlotte this week. Porsche, the Porsche Taycan Esports Cup race 6 will be at Fuji. So, lot going on this week.
I had a hankering to run the ring. I went to go run it, and it's the Porsche Mission R. Oh God, I don't have that car.
Does anybody
have that car? Why are they racing that car?
Look, I guarantee you they will sell some cars this week.
Podcast housekeeping. Leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform to make it easier for more listeners to find the podcast. Mention the podcast to your fellow drivers so they don't miss out. We would appreciate it. Check out our Discord and get involved in the discussion. Lots going on over there. And our show notes, iRacersLounge.com. Brad does a great job of presenting a visual product for you guys to look at while you listen to us. And so check out our show notes. We're in regular rotation at the Performance Motorsports Network, and get your iRacers Lounge merchandise at iRacersLounge.shop. Fantasy.
All right, so the Cup Series rolled into Martinsville this past weekend. So typical short track. So with it's Silver Mustang 91 took the win, followed by Penguin Racing. Fat Man Little Coat was third. Speed Tape Racer was fourth, and Canadian was fifth. So for me, this was pretty much a typical spring Martinsville race. Not as good as last fall, but the spring races typically never are. The Cup Series race was somewhat docile. Denny Hamlin with the win. We talked last week. I think this is his first win since 2014, so it's been over a decade since he's won. The big talk coming out of the weekend was the chaos and the insanity of the Xfinity race on Saturday. But again, I think the car still just has issues at the short track, and I still don't know what to do. I was so tempted to buy tickets to go because Martinsville's only 45 minutes away, but the threat of rain that was showing up earlier in the week kind of discouraged me from doing that. And I'm kind of glad I didn't, because it was kind of a ho-hum race.
So there was a lot of discussion this week, though, I think, around that Saturday night race with the Xfinity drivers about how has it come to this? And I think there's a couple things in play. I think back in my day when I used to go to races, there were Cup drivers in the Xfinity series on a regular. Okay, there were 10 or 12 of them sometimes. But look, you had to race Mark Martin. You had to race Dale Jr., some of these people that were in both Cup and Busch. And I don't know what it is about having an elder statesman who can, grab you by the scruff between the haulers and after the race and say, "Hey, what are you doing, kid? You can't race like this." They don't have that in today's Xfinity series. I think the second part of it is a lot of those drivers in the Xfinity series are pay drivers. They're there because they bring money. They have a sponsor. Their daddy is rich. All the above. Okay, but it's not because of talent. I mean, we have Connor Zilic there because of talent, but everyone else, pay drivers. So I think that's where we're at.
Yeah, that's part of it. I still think the entire point system is part of the issue too, with the winning you're in. That's guys do stupid things. We saw it last year at Richmond. When Austin Dillon, shipped it in and spun out Joey Logano and then ended up breaking Hamlin for the win. And so, but yeah, it's not going to change, unfortunately, Mike, unless NASCAR needs to start doing something. So, look, they find Sammy Smith, whatever. I mean, it's after the fact that's the problem. Until they start doing something in the middle of the race and parking guys or putting them in the rear, nothing's going to change. It's not. We've talked all week in our chat, about it. I don't understand how a local track understands how this works. If it it's a no fault system. It's no different than SR and I rating in iRacing. If you're involved in an accident, whether you caused it or you're the recipient, you go to the back. It's just what it is. Guys will stop doing stupid things. I don't agree with the let the guys have at it and we end up with fist fights after every race. That's not going to solve anything. But yeah, there are no elder statesmen in the series anymore, unfortunately. You have some that have been in the series for a while, but they don't carry the weight, that a Dale Earnhardt or a Tony Stewart to grab somebody, and say, "Hey, what are you doing?" They just don't have that. They don't have the weight in order to do that. But Look, I put a lot of this blame on NASCAR. They have made the bid, and this is what you get when you do. You come up with stupid point systems that don't reward any sort of consistency and strictly reward, just because you win and you're in.
Yeah, and just the final thought is NASCAR needs to handle this during the race. Use that black flag. Okay, that's the fix here. Like you said, the points and everything on the Tuesday after is this. It's not going to change it. But that one little wooden dowel with a black rag on it will.
Yeah. So overall, as we come out of Martinsville, we got Silver Mustang 91 in the lead with 1,382 points. Canadians in second. Mike Wuju is in third. Fourth, Res Dog. Fifth, tied for fifth, we got Mud Dog and Matt Robb 40. So I continued to set my lineup, and I didn't do as well as I thought I was going to do.
Just to take a little victory lap here, I'm Penguin Racing, so my team finally actually survived to the end.
Oh, look at you! All right, well now I know, so I can give you the shout out. So we head to Darlington this week. One of my favorite tracks. My wife and I went down to watch Junior race last year at Florence. We drove by Darlington, and both of us said we got to do that. So I don't know if we're going to go. Probably next year. I think we'll plan to go to Darlington since we're not but a few hours away. But this was a good race. The last year, I think Keselowski won this race in the spring, and Briscoe won it in the fall. So looking forward to this weekend, throwback weekend. It doesn't seem to not as much participation in that as it was the first few years they did it. So, but Mike, who do we put money on this week?
Eric Jones. No, probably not.
He's got to do something. He got DQ'd last week.
But he's won here before, right?
He has. Yeah, I mean, I expect. Tyler Reddick was strong here last year. I think Briscoe will probably be good. It's a
Roush will be good.
Yeah, it's a tough track, and you just got to race the track. And again, this is another track with this car that just has led to good racing. So, as much as we complain on the short tracks, the previous car we complained on the speedways, and we like the short track. So it's hard to have both ends of it.
All right, hardware, software. William, high speed hygiene is first.
Yeah, so I thought this, or I would have thought this was an April Fool's if it hadn't been on the schedule that we didn't, or the script that we didn't get to last week. But there's a quick Instagram post, and not even going to try to pronounce that name. But they have rubber banded a toothbrush to an Xbox controller, and apparently are using it as either a clutch or a handbrake. It's pretty funny to watch. Gran Turismo 7, I think, is the game. But yeah, it's pretty funny to watch. Guys just having fun.
He's got like a Logitech 920 or something, bolted to the thing in front of him. But yeah, he needed a handbrake so he could do the drifting game. And you got to make do with what you have, while you're waiting for your shipment.
Is this what we to get a video of you once you get your active pedal somehow finagled to get on the rig? Are we going to see something temporary put in there like this, Mike?
I don't know. With the rubber bands and whatnot, probably not, but it will be jerry-rigged. Okay, Brad, how about the sim rig breakdown? Holy cow.
Yeah, we got a post here from, it was Grand Pooh Bear guy. He's got a motion platform. I think this is probably like one of those, like the next level where it's like the four posts right under the chair or something. But yeah, he's racing, and the rig just collapses. I don't know if an actuator went down or whatever, but I mean, he literally just falls over to the right. Yeah, I don't even know what I would do. That's a lot of money. That even these things are expensive, and I can't imagine. What's going through your mind when your rig collapses?
Yeah, so I told Mike this when we were talking about me coming on the show. I don't remember if I ever actually have put it on the show or not, but this is the guy. He's famous for being a Mario speedrunner and speedrunner for different games, but My wife watches him a lot, so I was watching with her at one point, and he was given a rig as a promotion by a company to promote on his stream, and ended up liking it so much that he bought other stuff and built his own, and now he does racing quite a bit, not as often as his normal stuff because it just to him it doesn't bring the viewers. It's not his normal audience, but this is I had known about sim racing for years before I actually got into it. I had watched, Jimmy Broadbent and people like that previously. But when it came back up on his stream when I was watching it one day, that's the first time, or not the first time, but that's when I really started planning to get my rig. I watched him for a while and then, got mine last year. But what happened on this one was just he lost an actuator. Hydraulic stopped on one of them. He just went almost face planted, pretty much.
I've been watching this on repeat, William, and to me, it looks like the whole, like maybe he was on uprights or maybe actuators, like you said, but it's like they collapsed forward and the whole rig, the front of it went down like 2 feet.
Yeah,
and I'm wondering, like the whole front just collapsed.
Yeah, he's got like the 4-post one, whatever you call it. I'm not too versed in motion sims, but the front just gave out. I don't know if it lost power or if it was an actual mechanical failure, but yeah, he just goes straight forward.
So I follow people that have RVs and travel trailers and stuff like that. And if you follow enough of them, you'll realize that they just dread anything mechanical like these slide outs. They have these part of the wall will slide out and make the inside bigger. Well, those just turn into a nightmare because they're mechanical. They move, they go in and out, and they break. And so when I'm thinking about a sim rig with motion, I'm thinking, okay, we're adding mechanical pieces to this. It's going to be mechanically moving. You're going to have more, prone to failure and that kind of thing versus a stationary rig.
Yeah, like Brad said earlier, I want to try it one time just for the immersion, but I would never race like that all the time. One, it's slower. I've heard, multiple fast pro sim racers have put it out there. Motion is slower. It just is. And two, yeah, like you, the maintenance and constant moving all the time. I'm not sure I want to have that much.
All right, Brad, how about the portable steering wheel control?
Yeah, so we got a Instagram post here from Home Game Coder Builds. This is a portable steering wheel control, so it's interesting. So it's a flat for our listeners. You've got a flat. It's like probably 3D printed, but imagine almost looks like a flat record player. You got a turntable that's got a wheel, on it shaped, and then he's spinning that to try to turn and stuff. I mean it's interesting. It's portable. You set up in front of a laptop. I don't think I want to try to race with this, although he does says, the games in the video are Euro Truck Simulator, Dirt 3, Assetto Corsa, Motortown, and then Beam NG Drive. So, yeah, I'm not that desperate to race when I'm on the road.
Yeah.
But look, you're traveling, for your job. You cannot miss that league race. You're in the hotel, you pull up the laptop, you got this little controller.
Oh, that's right. He's got the gas and a brake or with his fingers. He's got pedals on the side. So yeah, dude, I would be a menace on the track with this.
Just from experience from some of the guys in the league traveling for work, you're much more likely to get bit by the hotel Wi-Fi than not having your wheel. But I mean, the thing is what it is. It's a little interesting to me. Whatever. My fascination is somebody is smart enough to 1, design the 3D print, 2, solder the electronics, and 3, code it. That just fascinates me because it's not something I could do at all. And so for somebody to be that smart is pretty impressive to me.
Well, and it's got the right look. I mean, it looks like a steering wheel that you're turning, not a record player. It's got a ignition key. It's got some buttons. It's got actual throttle and brake pedals that are just miniature, small enough for your fingers. So it's cute, too. So yeah, if you're handy, I would almost want to try to make one of these just for fun, just to see if I could do it. The handle is Home Game Coder Builds. And there's YouTube videos and everything to show you how to do it.
Well, so just when you're watching him, especially when he's racing, he's not doing that well.
All right, I'll take big screen Beyond 2 VR glasses are out there, guys. They dropped, and this guy says most insane VR headset I've ever used. Now we've talked about big screen Beyond 1, the first version, and what they're famous for is they look like regular size glasses. They don't look like these giant VRs like David has. They're small, compact, high res, etc. Well, now we have Beyond 2. I saw in the forums a few people have ordered them, so including staff member Brian Simpson said he's got one on order.
If I was going to try this is probably what I would do. These do not look as cumbersome, as hot or heavy as like the Pimax and stuff like that. Again, this is another thing that I would love to be able to try, but I have issues with vertigo, and I think it would probably it would do me in probably pretty quick. But it's one of those things I do want to try. But this looks to be a lot more comfortable, and I mean, I cannot imagine, and I don't know how David does it. I mean, as big as the Pimax thing is, how he gets on there and does endurance races for 2 and 3 hours, I don't know how you do it. I am most of the time I'm soaking wet in the rig, and I've got a fan on me and everything else. I cannot imagine having something strapped on my face.
Yeah, so I've never really gotten into VR. I've never tried it. And mostly for those exact reasons. It's so big and cumbersome and hot and all that else. And to me, and I could be completely wrong on this because, like I said, I've never used VR, but the quality of your visual doesn't seem as high. This, however, looks like something I might try. I mean, the price is, the price of if you were going to do triples, your standard 32 triples, not Mike's palatial setup over there. But the my biggest fear is just eye strain. Staring at something that close to you for 2.5 hours. And again, I've never used it. I might be completely wrong, but like you said, doing that for that and sweating through it would be my 2 biggest fears. But this looks small enough to where it's not.
Yeah, I mean,
bad.
I'm like 54 centimeters away from my center screen, and I get eye strain on long races here. I mean, I'm tired. My eyes are tired. I cannot imagine having something that's, I wear glasses on a regular basis. I don't wear them when I race. But, I mean, just for me wearing glasses all day long, my eyes get tired. I can't imagine having something that close for hours on end. I don't know. Like I said, I'd love to try it. It looks so cool when you like this video. I mean, he gets in the car and he's looking around. I mean, that looks super cool. I just don't know if I could do it.
Yeah, I feel like Mike or David should have been here for this one.
This is a great look. All the things you just said about the size, the strap over the head, the weight. This is 110 grams. He shows it on a scale. It's like a big pair of. It's like a small pair of ski goggles, actually. It's actually smaller than ski goggles, kind of. But look, if I was into VR, yes, this would be the one I would be picking, guys, especially this new version that just dropped. So check it out.
Yeah, I'm super curious if any of the listeners get it. Let us know how it is for sure, because I am very curious about it.
I'm sure we'll get reviews in the next weeks, as it comes out. So we'll be watching for those. Okay, Brad, how about random call sign on what he has learned reviewing sim racing equipment over 8 years?
Yeah, this was pretty interesting. Like Mike said, he's been doing this 8 years. He put out a video and just kind of, explains a little bit. One of the things, biggest takeaway was most stuff is good, for your average sim racer. The stuff is, the quality is not bad, regardless of where you're at in the spectrum. So even if you're on the lower end, if you're in the Logitech ecosystem, or if you're in the Thrustmaster, it still works. Yeah, most stuff is good. Value is king. You don't have to spend a fortune to have a good time. The screw FOMO, which is what I had to figure out what that was. Help me, Mike.
Is this one of the we need to ask the teenager acronym things?
Well, I tried that. She didn't know either last time. Come on, William, you're a young guy. What's FOMO?
Fear of missing out.
Oh, there you go. I
There you
looked it
go.
up, but I couldn't remember it. So yeah, the fear of missing out. I mean, that is a trap, though. And I think some of us can get into that. We see something that looks fantastic, and it's like, I'm missing out because I don't have X, Y, and Z. Well, no. I mean, again, it's, do any of us need the thousands
flag.
of? No, I don't need an iFlag. I don't. I have one right here. I don't need it. But
I
guess
don't, but
what?
it's gonna make me happy. So there you go.
There you go. It makes me happy. Exactly. It doesn't change anything except it makes me happy. And then the other thing is watch multiple reviews. So that's the one thing that is nice. And I noticed in 23 when I decided to get back into sim racing, the amount of reviews it's phenomenal what you can learn just by watching stuff. None of that stuff was around when I was on the service back in, when I got off service in 16. I mean, you had a handful of people doing reviews, but it was very limited. I mean, just the amount of, I went with the Sim Magic wheelbase because I watched like 30 reviews over it. And I was like, you know what, for value, that's what I'm going for. But yeah, I mean, my wife got so frustrated with me. She's like, what are you doing? I said, I'm watching reviews. She goes, would you just order something? I was like, no, because I want to make sure I get the right thing. I mean, it's when you're spending a lot of money and, Mike says, buy once, cry once. I spent the 15, 20 years of upgrading and upgrading and upgrading. And I was like, you know what? No, I'm all in. If I'm getting back into it, I'm going all in. I'm going to do it once and I'm going to do it right. But no, this was a good video. And again, he hits on a lot of good points.
Yeah, I think the one thing that really I came away with was the value is king. The cheap stuff works. You can get by just fine without getting the latest and greatest. You don't need the Lewis Hamilton F1 wheel for $2,500. You really don't.
It won't make me faster.
Oh, but I think it's important to point out too. He's right, but it is important to point out the value is what you get out of it, right? Like I bought my SemiCube, I bought my GSI wheel, and I feel like I've gotten every penny out of them. And I was in the position to do that, and I realized some people aren't. And yes, anything will work for you, but I don't think necessarily that just because it's expensive means it's bad.
Well,
bad
here's
value.
the key question to this, William, is do you feel like you need to upgrade your Gomez wheel and your SemiCube base? Like, is this?
Oh, no, and not at all.
Right. See, that's the value.
Yeah, I think that goes with the buy once, cry once. I mean, like, for our listeners watching Mike, he's got an MPI wheel there. I have an MPI wheel here. Do I need an MPI wheel? No, but I wanted one because that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted. Did I need it? No, it didn't make me any faster. But for me, it's an immersion thing. I've raced a car. I had an MPI wheel when I raced. I wanted to grab an MPI wheel when I get down on my sim rig.
Yeah, I want to run what Denny Hamlin runs,
Mike against the world.
All right, let's talk about a do-it-yourself force feedback wheel. We have a YouTube video from CNC Dan, and he literally builds a do-it-yourself, direct drive motor wheelbase, and he 3D prints a lot of it, and it's just an amazing build. He shows how he did it and how it's wired, and there's a little fan in there. And I mean, what do you think, William? This guy is pretty handy. What do you think?
Again, just so many people in this world that are so much smarter than me, and I'm learning this more and more every day. Oh yeah, it was a really cool video to watch. He takes a motor from a hoverboard, uses tools that I will never have in my life, and drills it out, designs it, 3D prints the enclosure, and codes the wheel, and he's got himself a fully do-it-yourself wheelbase. It was really cool to watch. If you haven't seen it, I'd encourage you to. It's 10 minutes up. Really cool video.
And he figured out software for it too. Like I was thinking as I was watching the beginning, I'm like, how's he going to do the software? But he did.
Look, I think this is the one thing that's so cool about this community is you got guys that do stuff like this. I don't have I don't have the intelligence to even think about doing something like this. But somebody sat down and said, you know what? I wonder if I can 3D print a wheel. Bam.
A direct drive wheel too. Okay, William, how about the Camus C12?
Camus, stop the other video. Camus has come out with an app that apparently runs on your. Well, it's a app first of all, but also has a mobile component that run on your phone. You can adjust your wheelbase settings, sensitivity, all on the fly. Yeah, I don't. I mean, we've talked about Camus before. They seem to put out some decent value stuff like we were just talking about, and just some people it would be really good to have. I mean, this is something we would like on our more expensive wheels to have a mobile app to where we can adjust stuff on the fly.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, a lot of times, like I've got Sim Magic, so I'll throw SimPro on the fourth monitor when I'm messing around. But if I could reach over and just with my finger slide something, on the while I'm driving, that would be nice. As opposed to either me trying to look up, grab the mouse and adjust something because you can't set hotkeys in it. So that's difficult at times. I don't know. It'd be interesting to try. It'd be fun to, if you're have somebody's house and they're racing, it'd be nice to grab that and mess with them a little bit.
We'll have to see as they get U.S. distribution, which is coming. We'll get closer into Camus and what they're all about. But I want to move on to the Moza M Booster pedal reviews. They keep coming in. We got 2 more of them. We have Sim Racing Den putting out what they got, and AM Studio as well. One of our listeners over in the Discord got their shipping notice today, and I think that was KC. And KC bought his probably 4 or 5 days before I bought mine. I didn't get my shipping notice today, but I hope it's coming soon. Yeah, excitement.
The one thing, I think it was the Sim Racing Den one, talked about the mounting concerns, and he showed that I think he mounted it without that extender plate on there at first, and said you could leave it like that. But I did notice in the video with that there was a ton of flex without the back of that thing being, the back of that pedal being mounted. So again, my frustration with that is just the lack of forethought when they did those holes to not put them like everybody else does at 40 millimeters apart. That's the only thing that frustrates me, that why you wouldn't take the time and understanding who your market is. There's almost every high end pedal set is the spacing's the same on all of them.
Right. And so I don't know how I'm going to play that out. Am I just going to use, so there's 6 holes, there's 4 near the front and 2 in the back. And then there's the back holes. And so like you said, he just mounted the 4 towards the front, the 2 in the front, the 2 in the middle. Will that be enough? I don't know, but that's how I'm going to probably start the install and see how the flex is. Am I going to, add more, aluminum extrusion and everything else to, if I see any flex? Absolutely, I will. But if I can get away without it, I might do that. But I'll be looking for that flex, like Brad's saying. I don't know. Is it the way he mounted it? Is his pedal tray different than mine? I don't know. We'll have to see.
Yeah, I haven't been paying too much attention. Oh, I won't say that. I haven't been paying near as much attention as I said to Mike, because it's just not something I'm really interested in. But I'm excited for you guys to start getting them in and hearing the real reviews from people we know. I know you've ordered yours, and we've had a couple listeners order them as well. So hopefully that means since he got his shipping notification, it'll be sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I'm really excited for having I'm jumping into a GT3 car and I have this brake. Oh, I'm going into the F4 car. The brake is totally different. It's and it's like profile driven. That's what I'm really chomping at the bit for. All right, William, how about you take the Simruito button box 1?
Yeah, so that name sounds familiar. I feel like we talked about something else. Maybe they did those pedals we talked about the other day. Chinese company. It's a button box. It doesn't look like a bad button box. It's fully RGB, has 106 lights on it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 buttons, 4 knobs, and then 5 additional buttons at the top. It's got a engine start, parking brake, 4-way switch up at the top. It's $129. Who knows how long it'll take to get to you?
Yeah, but that's a crazy price. I mean, Mike, ignition? What'd you pay for yours? Well over 200, right? 260, 270.
Yes, that's right.
I think I paid $270 for my precision engineering, whatever they call it over there.
It is a great value for that price. I mean, looking at that box, this is very much looks like a kind of an ignition controls box, actually.
Yeah, I mean it's not bad. I'm not a huge fan of the one-way switches just because they're hard to program stuff to. I'd rather have a momentary switch. These look like they're maybe just like a toggle on off.
Yeah, toggles. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be my only downside of that is I'd rather have a momentary. But yeah, I mean for $130, it's hard to pass that up.
Simruito.com. All right, Brad, how about the Moza active toaster? I mean, the active shifter.
Yeah, so we talked about this, I think, a little bit last week. I think we got another video in the script here as well. But yeah, this is kind of an unboxing showing him putting the shifter knobs and all that stuff on there. So yeah, still pretty neat. 12 newton meters of torque. Again, it's interesting. It's big. I think the same guy that ordered the pedal, I think Mike ordered this as well, didn't he?
He did, yeah. I was making fun of him because it's so darn big. It looks like a toaster. Maybe it should toast bread too.
Well, it's big. I mean,
it's as big as a toaster.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I've got the Fanatec whatever shifter. I don't know what the lettering is, but this thing is probably 1.5 times the depth of that, and at least probably 1.25 tall. It is big. I cannot imagine that. Trying to mount that thing onto my rig, I cannot even imagine what that would be like.
Yeah, so we've talked about this quite a lot, both on the pod and in our chat. I'm intrigued. If I actually used a shifter for any amount of time, it's something I would probably look at picking up. But man, seeing this video we knew it was big, but seeing the video just puts it in perspective. This thing is humongous. I think the dude's got a Moza R5, R9 on his rig, and this thing's as big or bigger than it.
Yeah, we've got another. I mean, I'll talk about it real quick. So down at the bottom of the script, there was a video from, I think, Gamer Muscle, where he does a review of this as well. And what was interesting to me is, so since it's force feedback, it's not a gated shifter. So the what he talks about in there is the motor is dictating which gear you're going into. So he struggled at times to find the gear because the motor, it's not, I would have thought that this was a gated shifter in there, and then there was some resistance built into the handle, but it's not. So the motor is moving around apparently and dictating where you're going when you try to shift. And he said there was a struggle with that, and it may just be a software issue, but that to me is concerning because a real manual shifter, it's a gated shifter. Yes, there's resistance when you go to change gears, but I can find third gear because I'm putting it in gear. There's a gate in there as opposed to some sort of motor trying to kind of dictate where I'm trying to shift to put the lever. That's the only thing that really concerned me about that.
I got the impression from Gamer Muscle it was a don't buy on this.
At least not yet. I think. I mean, I don't know. I think maybe a little bit too early. Just I don't. Again, it's I don't know.
Yeah, based on Gamer Muscle's video, I'd probably watch that if you're thinking of buying one of these first and get his impression. But yeah. Now I'll take this one. SemiCube Tuner 2.5 software has launched from SemiCube, and this will run the SemiCube 2 Pros in sports and Ultimate. And so it's an all-in-one software from SemiCube that runs the active pedal and now the wheelbase as well, and their wheels if you have their wheels. And so I installed it. At first, it's really pretty. I'll say that. Okay, it looks pretty. It's got neat coloring, and but the way that the flow worked was a little weird. Like, I had trouble finding at first how to center the wheel, which is something I have to do every time I switch wheels. I have to center it, and it was kind of buried in a menu, to be honest. I had to be on the overview tab. I had to hit the 3 lines, and there it is. And so it took me a bit to find it, which is a key thing, and so I was kind of surprised that it was buried in a menu. The second thing was, where are my profiles? Like, they weren't anywhere obvious. And so there was this one spot where you go click on the wheel, and then there's a drop down and it shows your offline profiles, and you can double click it and boom, you got it. Now, besides those 2 things that were kind of quirky, I love it because it auto switches profiles now. It figures out what profile you loaded with what car you're driving, and next time you load that car, it auto loads that profile. And I've also programmed it to where the force feedback is always on, and I used to have to go in and enable it. Justin showed me how to make it where I don't have to do that. And basically, it's once I run it, I don't have to touch it. And I've been using it in conjunction with Marvin's app, and it's just working like a charm.
Have you updated yours, William?
I've not. I only have the wheelbase. I don't have any of that stuff. My wheel's not wireless. And obviously I don't have an active pedal. So I was kind of on the it's not broke, don't fix it camp. But I have heard very good things, and especially if you do have more than one of those products, it makes it a lot, like Mike said, smoother, from what I've heard.
I'd say download it anyway and use it just for the auto switching profile thing. That alone it's worth the download.
Did you have to do a firmware update or anything to go along with it, Mike?
Oh yeah. And in fact, I panicked because the first time I tried the firmware update, it didn't work. But the second time it did.
That's the way Sim Magic is. So typically they release a new version of Sim Pro. There's a firmware update to go along with it. So that's where you get the benefit, William. When they've gone through an updated firmware, something's changed in how they're doing it. So that's the only thing. Because, I'm under the same impression. There's been some releases of Sim Pro Manager where it's been just point, and it's like, oh, glad I didn't do that. I'm like you. I'll wait a couple weeks until everything seems to be okay before, you on the Discord, it's like, oh, revert back. We found a problem. But
yep.
Okay. William, what's this Control Win Shift B?
So if you're having graphical issues, you can make your graphics driver restart with this key combination. The guy goes through a very quick Instagram short to kind of tell you what's going on, but might be worth a try if you've been having frame issues or something like that.
Yeah, I'd never heard about this until I saw this, and I'm like, man, that's like, yeah, first of all, you got to be a contortionist to do that.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm trying to picture myself in the middle of a race and I got some artifacts showing up. I'm like, oh, I don't think I'll be able to do that. But I never knew you could do this. I mean, typically in years past, if something started to freak out, I just like would reboot the computer. But interesting.
I wonder what would happen if you tried it during a race. Would it look? It reboots the GPU. You think that means it's going down for a while,
That's what
coming back up, right? You don't want to do it while you're racing. But if you had a problem, maybe this is something to try. Okay, Brad, how about a listener suggestion?
Yeah, we had Jeff Wubker, I guess. It sent us a message, says, hey, for anyone that may be interested, this video explains if you use a small software tool to unpark cores, it won't allow Windows to turn them back on and permanently leave them off, is my understanding. So, yeah, this was, we discussed last week that I ran into the situation where after the last update, and I think it was from a Windows update, was really struggling with stutters again in iRacing. So I said, you know what, let me go in here and check and see if any of my cores were parked. And daggone it, every one of them was parked again. So apparently something's been going on, and but it's a little bit long. Doesn't kind of get to the issue about the park of the cores until towards the latter half of the video. But there is a program that you can get that will actually keep the cores from being unparked. I haven't done anything with it yet. Sometimes I get leery with some of this stuff, so I just kind of told myself that anytime that I get a Windows update, I'm just going to go in and check and make sure my cores are not parked. But yeah, like I said, it's just it's one of those things that happened, and I don't know how long it's been like that. I'm trying to think. There was the Windows, what it was, 11.24 or whatever the big last patch was that I did, and it's probably been
SH2.
Yeah, it's probably been, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 weeks. But again, I didn't really notice anything until the last to season 2 update, and so yeah, just you could give that a watch. He gives quite a bit of information, a lot of latency, and some stuff I don't. Again, it's like well over my head, but the parked core thing is definitely an issue.
Yeah, and Jeff sent another note thanking you, Brad, for bringing that up last week because he was having a similar problem. iRacing couldn't help him with it, and what you had told him fixed the issue. So,
hey, when we have issues, and if I find something that works for me, I'm definitely going to share it with the listeners.
Next up is the DGX station in AI Powerhouse. Now, I saw this on Instagram where NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang unveils this computer. And I was thinking, and he also said, oh, you can plug a graphics card into it too. And I was thinking, well, can we race on it? Would we want to race on it?
Just remember, this is the same guy that said a 5070 is going to outperform a 4090 graphics card. It only costs you $500.
With the AI frames?
Yes, which I think would be horrible in a racing simulator.
So this computer is 20 petaflops, 72 CPU cores, HBM memory, and PCIe slots. He calls it the future of computing is here. Well, look, if it'll run Windows 11, we can race on it.
72 cores. Now imagine if all those are parked.
It's an AMD. It won't park them.
Ouch.
William Conspit is back.
Conspit has a North American or a U.S., I should say, distributor now. APV is now going to be selling Conspit products in the United States. I think we were just talking about this a couple episodes ago.
Yeah, we
moaning they didn't have a U.S. distributor, and now here they go.
Yep, we've given them a bunch of grief, and we called them phantom wear and stuff because there was nowhere to buy it for quite a while. And I think I may have mentioned on a previous show, I saw a Facebook post where they were literally saying, "Hey, we need a U.S. distributor. Reach out to us if you're interested." Well, there you go. So yeah, I mean, it's their stuff has gotten good reviews. I saw one of their new wheels that I really like the way it looks, and I was like, and it's not. It's
290 GP formula, that one?
No, it's a 300 millimeter. It's a new one that they've released, but it's you know, the website is in Canadian currency. So I was like, oh my gosh, how much is this going to be? It was like $1,400. Well, once you convert it to US, it's like $800 and some dollars for it. I think it's on this picture. I think it's the wheel that's right there in the middle with the screen. I think it looks fantastic. The only thing I don't like about the Conspit is the purple. It's too much purple. I don't like the purple knobs and all the rotaries. Everything's purple. I'm not a purple guy. But hey, I'm just glad to see them get a U.S. distributor. So hopefully we'll start to see some more reviews and maybe some feedback from U.S. Listeners and users on their stuff.
Yeah, I looked at the website, apavy.com. I found the Conspit page. They have that wheel you like with the display for $710. And wheelbases are $800 for an 18 Newton meter wheelbase.
Yeah, their pedals look pretty good as well. Look very similar to the Magic. Yeah, hopefully we get some more reviews. Pricing is not bad compared to what's out there. So yeah, hopefully we get some more US based stuff coming in.
As long as you're not Greg and you live in Canada.
That's exactly right.
We want to see Conspit at the Sim Gaming Expo for sure. That'd be a great place for them to get into the US market. Now, this next one has me very excited. Tom Dreiling, one of our team members, is thinking about getting an F Formula wheel, and I told him about this one. The F-Core Evo has been released. A new product alert. Get ready to experience the next level of sim racing with the all-new F-Core Evo from Cube Controls. And they got three color schemes: blue, red, and this black. And they're non-display. Very much looks like the wheel I bought for almost $1,100. These are starting at, check this out, $399. 399 euros, I should say.
Yeah, that's,
Go ahead.
okay. That's not a bad price for a Cube Controls wheel when you consider it. With what the markets are doing right now, who knows what that actually is in American dollars? I could not tell you. But it's I'm sure it's pretty close to that amount. Here, I'll look it up right quick while you guys are talking. But yeah, for Cube Controls, it looks like a decently built wheel. It comes with 2 different options for the shifters with and looks like a Cube Controls wheel, that distinctive look.
So I believe these are like the GSIs, which my only issues with these and GSI is they already come labeled. I don't like that.
So GSI, you can actually get customized, but they have to do it. They don't come with like stickers.
You order it with the stickers you want on it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's my
more money, right? So, but yeah, if you really want it, you can do it. It looks like €399 currently, as we sit, is $441
until the tariffs
tomorrow.
Start. Yeah, there you go. Buy now.
Yeah, look, with tariffs, you better have already bought whatever you're going to buy. The price will change, and I expect the way Trump is doing things, it'll go up and down as we go. So it's a beautiful wheel. I look for the value. Look, I was going to tell Tom the Sim Magic. What do they call it? Evo 2? They call it Evo?
Neo.
Neo.
Yeah.
That's like 389 euros or something.
Oh, it's like $289.
289. Okay. Then you got these, and I would say these are probably a step above
Yes, they are.
in quality. Yeah, and for that extra money to go to 400 euros, probably worth it. Now, the second post, guys, I learned right before the show. This is actually an April Fool's joke. Cube Controls put out a different post called with a different wheel called the Astra at 449 euros, and I saw this and I was like, "Ooh, this one looks pretty cool too." But this actually, they came out later or earlier today and said actually this one was an April Fool's joke.
So should I? I'll move it into up into the top of the script with the April Fools.
All right, William, how about when you go all in?
Yeah, so this actually was quite the discussion in the Grassroots Discord this week as well. This guy, I think he's a former LMDH racer, built a cockpit that's basically a copy of an LMDH car from the inside. It's got 43-inch screens, a fake roll bar. It's enclosed, so it's dark. It is beautiful, and believe me, I wish I could build something like that because it is quite the. If you check the show notes and watch this video, because it's quite the build.
Yeah, this is. I mean, like I said, the title, all in. I mean,
100%.
we see all kinds of cockpits. Guys have done, PVC roll bars and stuff like that, and that's pretty neat looking. But this is just take it to the next level. I mean, literally, when he opens up that door, it looks like the inside, either an LMP2 or an LMDH. I mean, it looks like the inside of a prototype car. It looks fantastic. I can't imagine racing in it. I sweat like a pig. It'd be hot as could be, but it looks fantastic.
It's gotta be hot. And he's in there in a full fire suit.
So what gets me is right at the beginning of the video when you see him when it's closed up. It looks like a giant road case is what it looks like. And he swings out the one side of the road case, and that whole case part swings out around the triple monitor. When it's closed, it comes right in around the triple left monitor. He opens it up like a door, and he closes it like a door. It's crazy.
The one thing he says in here, and I completely agree, he said he's been doing this, he's been working on this for 13 years, and he said it's never finished. That's the way we are. Is it ever finished, guys?
No, there's always something you want to do. This is neat, but look, I can't imagine, how does he keep cool in that? It's got to be super hot.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, it looks fantastic. Just I can't imagine how warm it's got to be.
You got to put a mini split on this. I need a mini split for my sim rig.
I'm trying to imagine myself going to my wife and going, "Hey, it's getting a little hot. I'm going to go ahead and put a mini split in here," and she'd be like, "What?"
At one point, he flashes 30,000 euros on the screen. Like, that's how much he's paid for all this.
Oh yeah, easy. I mean, the amount of the dash. I mean, all that stuff has been either he's made it or he's had somebody make it. I mean, that's it. Like I said, it looks absolutely fantastic.
And look, if you build something like this, you almost have to wear the fire suit and the helmet, or if you don't, then it's just not right.
Need the cooler, the drink system to go with it.
He's got it in there.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah, he's got it. It's coming right over top the headrest.
All right, we better jump to results and the name a time here. So let's talk Friday Open NASCAR iRacing Series at Martinsville. I got a P13. I was running basically 5th to 10th. I kept getting incidents, and I was at 16x, and then I got that dreaded drive-through penalty near the end of the race. Thankful I was able to get a P13 out of it. Tony Rochette wrecked out. Bleep these bleeping dumbass bleeps that can't drive this bleeping bleep track, you bleeping bleep holes. Go bleeping bleep yourselves. Brad, P4.
Yeah. So P4 after starting P3. I really felt like I let second win slip away Friday night. Ran up front the whole race. Too many yellows as usual, but that's the pattern at Martinsville. But in the late stages of the race, I kept bouncing back between P2 and P3. So, it was just, we'd run like 2 or 3 laps and then get a yellow. I mean, it was just constant. So if I started P2, I fall back to P3. I get by P2, and as soon as I get by P2 and get ready to start running the leader down, we get a yellow. So back and forth. So I started getting very aggressive on restarts because from restarting P2 on the outside, it's so hard to keep track position. I got really aggressive, and I ended up spinning the tires. Micah went back and looked, and it does look like maybe he hit me from behind. I can't tell, but the car just went left, and I collected you, and I think that's what probably pushed you over the incident limit, and I'm sorry. But yeah, the car hooked left, and I mean, it was chaos on the front stretch. So it's one of those times where after winning Wednesday, and I it was so close, and I was so wanted that second win that I screwed up, and that's the problem,
Oh, we lost Brad. I think. Oh, there he is.
Gone again. Oh, there you are.
Good Lord. All right. So, but yeah, like I said, Mike, you got involved in that, and I'm sorry. And I screwed up.
Oh, I mean, it was no worries on my end, but yeah, you did wreck the field there on a late restart, and I just want to point out you still finished P4.
Yeah, I did, but yeah.
All right, Saturday fixed. Martinsville, Tom Dreiling, P4. Pretty much my basic Martinsville, started 21st, a very bad qualifying. Worked my way back and forth to the front. Tried to stay my way out of danger. I'll take a top 5. Sunday Open, David Hall. Software crashed. I logged back in 4 laps down, but after 2 quick cautions, caused 8x by people running at the very back of the field, just not knowing how to effing drive a car. I just left. Nothing short of trashing the fast track system or putting real consequences behind repeated dirty driving will fix this. As it stands now, a rookie never has to touch a short track before fast tracking up.
Did y'all dive into that earlier?
No, we haven't.
Yeah, there he is.
Yeah, I just got out of rehearsal. What's up?
Well, we just talked about your Sunday morning race. So you said software crash.
Yeah, I heard. Yeah, it just closed on me, and I came in 4 laps down and immediately picked up 8x and was like, I'm not going to sit on here and collect a bunch of X when there's like 8 guys a lap down. I'm not going to improve my position any. So it was, and Martinsville was just awful. I don't know if y'all went into it during the show. I haven't gotten to listen yet, obviously, but man, it's just no. I wasn't surprised, but boy, it's just frustrating. And I almost didn't even run Sunday. I went ahead and skipped Thursday and Friday just because I it's ridiculous. So
yeah, when you got, I mean, cautions in the high 20s and 30s, it's just stupid. I mean, over half the race was under yellow.
All right, moving on to Wednesday Open, Darlington, DNF. Actually, I was the first caution. I got loose off of turn 2. I went down to the inside. I was able to keep it off the wall. I spun it around. I was right up against the groove, just slightly out of it. Came to a complete stop. Held the brake. Hold my breath. I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cars get by me. In the 7th car, T-bones me. Now I looked at his replay from the in-car cockpit camera, and he couldn't really see me because of the cars in front of him and this and that. So he didn't really mean to, but it's still a shame that 6 cars missed me and the 7th car got me. I was just like, dang, it was 8 minutes damage, and so I was done. David, P3.
Hamilton High School may be closed by the
Yep.
time.
I don't. Can you read what I have written? I can't see the
Yeah,
script.
you got a P3. Fighting for second at the end. Might have had something for the leader, but a car took us 3 wide into turn 1 when I properly set up the pass. Of course, this guy's lack of racecraft was reflected in a poor finish afterwards.
Yeah, that was one of those where, in Darlington, you can get a little stacked up, and we were getting just a little bit stacked up, and I got a perfect run off of turn 2, actually into turn 3, but I had to use turn 3 and 4 to clear him. And on the front stretch, as I'm about to clear him, here comes another guy on the inside, and he ended up just ruining his own race a little bit after that.
All right, Justin Pearson, DNF. His gear shift came unplugged, and then he quit. So I was asking, I didn't think we got an answer on how that happened. Does he have a cat, or how does it become unplugged?
I don't know. I don't know what kind of gear shift he's got.
All right, and then Chris Waldron, he wrecked out, and then Brad, P14.
Yeah, really frustrated with this result. So race is not as clean as they've been in A Open this week. Not surprised. Kept the car in the top 10 most of the race. Kept it clean. We had a restart with about 30 to go, and they started wrecking off a turn 2. Yellow didn't come out really until we got into 3, and as soon as the yellow came out, they just wadded them up going into 3. I was on the high side. I could not get slowed down. I mean, it's just, just very frustrating. Should have pitted for repairs, but I was kind of scared to see how much damage I actually had. So I ended up limping it home in 14th. Should have had a better result. Setup was really good from Premier Racing Setups. It was a long run setup, but just never got a chance to let it shine. It's one of those, we had 11 cautions. So as soon as we would start to get into a long run, just as soon as I start to track guys down, bam, we get a yellow. So just again, 11 cautions last night at that track is just stupid. There's no reason for it.
All right, Thursday Open, I got a P22. I got wrecked once for 8 minutes. Wasn't my fault. I continued on, was pretty slow though. Got a lucky dog at one point. Finished P22. Bobby Jonas wrecked out. William, Super Formula Lights P3.
Yeah, so the guys at Grassroots are thinking about putting together just a little fun league for this, 30-minute races. So I figured I'd give the car a try. Never driven it before. I got about 30 minutes of practice with it at Okayama with those guys, and then I jumped right into Road America. P3. In fairness, my Formula rating is like 1,300 rating lower than my road because I haven't touched it since the license split. But man, it seemed like 3/4 of the grid left the track before we even finished the first lap. It was quite the experience. P3. The car's fun. I'll probably still drive a little bit, but I think I actually in the Formula might prefer the F4.
I love the F4. It feels good. A Open, Brad, P6.
Yeah, so ran a practice race. I actually ran 2, but this was the better result. So weather was much hotter for the A Open races. Went with the setup, ended up being just a bit too free. And I struggled. I did make some changes and got a little bit better. We only had one yellow, and that was around lap 80. It felt really good to actually have some green flag stops after coming out of Martinsville. So that's why I said, I mean, it's, the NIS race was 47 laps more than the 100 lap A Open. Both A Opens I was in, we had one yellow, and that was 80 some laps into the race. It's ridiculous that we can run 100 laps and have one yellow, but like everybody loses their freaking mind when it comes to NIS. I just don't understand it.
All right, and then GT Sprint, Watkins Glen P12.
Yeah. So I struggle here. It doesn't matter what car or series. I just struggle at this track. If it's got fast sweeping corners, I just struggle. I can never seem to find speed here. I like running this series, but it's challenging. It can be rewarding. But this just wasn't one of those races. I had okay speed, just I couldn't progress. You really got to qualify good to be able to, I think, to be successful in that series. You don't get the you don't typically get much of the retirements like you'll get at IMSA. Plus at IMSA, running GT3s, you're running against like 13 guys as opposed to like 30. So it's I think the IMSA series is a little bit easier from that aspect. But yeah, these guys, man, they're aggressive. I mean, just absolutely aggressive. I mean, I had a guy get all ticked off at me coming through the S's because he felt like I did him wrong. Went back and looked at the replay, and I held my line. I don't know what else I could do. I mean, it's just that code got him, and I'm sorry, but you force a pass on me coming into the S's, and I tried to hold my line, and it's just I enjoy it when I run it, and I run it periodically, but they're very aggressive.
Okay, grassroots racing, William, week 13.
Yep. So it's our off week. We pick a track with a funny combination that doesn't normally run. So just a week for the guys to blow off steam from the season. We picked Monza combined this season, and it went about as well as you would think it would. Good thing we don't take it seriously. Crashes all over the place. Next week is week 1 of our 4th season. Starts at Daytona. Really looking forward to it.
All right, other racing I ran, old IndyCar at Pocono. I love that combo. Finished P9. Supercars at Michigan, P19. BMW M2 at Summit Point, actually hosted race. Started 14th, finished P5. And then I did a official BMW M2 Lime Rock, qualified 7th out of 11th, got it to P4. Final thoughts, Greg Hectus.
Sorry I couldn't be on the show much tonight. Just trying to celebrate my daughter's birthday. But haven't done much racing on testing on Darlington yet. I've been hearing and seeing the videos of everybody's results from Darlington, so it makes my wondering what Sunday is going to be like when I finally get out on the track. But just haven't been racing much.
All right, very good. Brad Wren, final thought.
So my wife and my daughter are out of town for a couple of days, catching up with some girlfriends, and it's been a while since I've been at the house by myself. So my daughter looks at me last night. She goes, "So we're gonna be gone. Does that mean you're gonna like race all night long?" And I'm like, "I have to go to work." "Oh, you still have to go to work?" I was like, "Yes, I have to go to work." So, so just it's just funny how kids think. But yeah, glad to get Martinsville in the rear. Darlington, I like. It's probably one of my favorite tracks. Bristol is next week. I'm looking forward to that. I like Bristol, and yeah, I've kind of resolved myself that I really want to work on my oval I rating. So I think I'm going to kind of take a little bit of a break from the sports car side and just focus on the oval. I've kind of set myself a goal to see if I can get to about 3,500 by maybe middle of the summer. That's kind of, I've given myself a goal there. So I'd like to get that I rating up. I think I should be competing at a higher level than what I am. So just kind of set a personal goal there. Ultimately, I think my goal is to try to get to 4K by the end of the year. So, yeah, so just try to set some personal goals. I really didn't kind of do that at the beginning of the year. But yeah, going to focus I think a little bit more on the oval, maybe do some periodic sports car stuff, but not as rigorous as I was. I complain about my iRating in oval, but then I start thinking, I'm like, well, you're only running 1 or 2 races a week. Well, it's going to get hard to do anything when you only run 1 or 2 races a week. So, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at.
All right, and then William, final thought.
Yeah, so I forgot to do this last week. I meant to, but a special shout out to Chris, our teammate, for setting up our community run that we did a couple weeks ago. We took the Mazdas out at Daytona. Unfortunately, we accidentally scheduled it the same day as Sebring 12, so that might have hurt participation a little bit. But we did have a good amount of people. I think we had 30 something people. We had an absolute blast taking those Mazdas around Daytona. That was some of the most fun I've had in a long time on iRacing. We're like I said, we're gonna try to set these up once a month. I think. Hopefully, we'll get some news about our next one soon. But like I said, just special shout out to him for setting that up. Shout out to Muradness for sponsoring the winner with a pair of new gloves. And yeah, come hang out with us some more.
All right, David Hall, final thought.
Just out here enjoying playing some music. Sorry I couldn't make most of the show. I'll be editing it a little bit later tonight, which means I've already edited if you're hearing the show, unless you're live. So, yeah, time live. We're live, but you're not, unless you're watching the YouTube video. But man, I don't know if we got to talk about this last week, but racing in the rain at Sao Paulo was more fun than racing at Martinsville.
Wow.
I bet.
Unbelievably more fun. I mean, it was intense. It was challenging. I was proud of our result. Did my that was 2 weekends ago, wasn't it?
No, it was last Friday.
Yeah.
Night. It was last Friday night, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, okay. So we didn't talk. We didn't put it in there, did we?
No.
Okay. Yeah, we came in 12th after starting all the way in the back, being like the slowest car to qualify. In fact, I chose not to qualify, and they forgot to click the little button, and we had to start behind all the GT3s that qualified. Even Greg had one mistake. We used the fast repair, so it was really inconsequential. A lot of off tracks. It was hard to see. The track was dark. You couldn't see around the left-hand corner because the windshield was not getting wiped off there. So it was still impossible to see that. But yeah, that was more fun than Martinsville, and I'm proud of that 12th place finish.
Speaking of that, I think that's something that iRacing needs to start to model eventually on the GT cars with the rain. It should be beating off the car. It should not be staying on the windshield, on the edges. Like the wiper would move the rain, but any of the rain that's around the rest part of the car should be beating off with the aerodynamics of the car, because they usually rain-X the windows.
And so what? It's not beating up. You're just seeing like a stream of water.
It's just water droplets on the anywhere where the windshield wiper doesn't touch.
And it just sits there and doesn't move from the wind.
Oh, I see. All right. My final thought. Excited about my Moza M Booster active brake. Hopefully shipping this week would be my guess, but I don't know. I logged into their website, looked at the order, but there's no indication of anything. So I don't know what's happening. I know one of our listeners had theirs shipped, so hopefully mine is soon. Darlington, I'm off just a tick, and I think it's on the aggression level, not the speed. And so I don't know what I got to do, but I've been going backwards in these races, and I'm not real proud of that. I've actually won the Southern 500 before, so believe it or not. And so I'm a little off this week, so trying to bring that around tomorrow night and hopefully get a good result. It's been a bad week for me. So with that, we'll see you on the track later.